Thank you for being with me today. This is Insights with David Munson Jr. And today I have as a guest Darell Smith, who has visited with us before, but I thought we'd catch up with a little more information about how he came to be pursuing the life path he is, and to talk a little bit more for those of you that didn't hear him speak before so eloquently about this really exciting camp that is a sponsor of the program. And so we'll be giving you information about them and the giving opportunities as the show progresses. Hope you'll enjoy hearing this. Darell's got a really fantastic life story that's brought him to Christ and sharing God's love with other people, haven't you?
Yes, I do, David. I would say, what terms you use? Fantastic?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to say fantastic, but I do have a story yeah, I have a story. I definitely have a story.
So you started out on the wrong track.
Definitely started out on the wrong tracks. Raised in Los Angeles, California, with two older brothers, two older sisters, having a different father than my older siblings, always kind of left me kind of feeling less than. As I kind of grew up, I got connected with some kids in the neighborhood that weren't necessarily on the right track. And probably when I was about 13 or 14 years old, I was introduced to drugs and alcohol. And that began a multi-year, a long journey down a very twisted and windy road. But thank God I was able to find redemption, and my life has been dramatically transformed.
Isn't it wonderful how God takes the fallen and converts them into evangelists for His word and carries on? And I think that's the heartening thing to me from the Bible and from hearing stories like Darell's, is how wonderful it is that God can take people that have fallen so badly and make them into agents of His work.
That's true. And to be honest with you, when I look back over the life that I once lived, I'm often amazed that there would be a God who would love me so much that He would rescue me from a life of depravity. Again, I mentioned the drugs, the alcohol, the womanizing, in and out of jails, institutions, and prisons for a good portion of my life, David. But it was in 1995, I accepted Christ Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and I tried to walk this walk alone. Tried to walk this walk alone, and I think I had some measure of success, but it all came crashing down in about 2005. Life was just kind of turned upside down, and I reverted back to many of the things that God had delivered me from. But there was a gentleman that I worked with for ministry out in California, and he saw enough in me to take me to a program called Teen Challenge in Southern California. It was a 1.5 year program, and it was, when I went into this program, I'll never forget the date, it was April 27th, 2005. And it was almost like I heard the gospel of Jesus Christ for the very first time. And not only did I hear the gospel, but there were men in my life who were able to walk me through this process, this thing called life. And so we're looking at, nearly 2005, we're at 12 years ago, just walking in divine favor, walking in healing and deliverance, and just to imagine that all that God has done for me over these last 12 years has just been nothing short of a miracle.
Well, and you weren't a teenager when you went through this program.
No, I was far from a teenager.
So a program that's intended for young people can sometimes have an effect in a positive way on people that are much older than teenagers.
Yes. To be honest, Teen Challenge, you might remember the story with David Wilkerson, who actually started Teen Challenge in New York City, I believe in 56 or 57 in New York City. It has kind of spawned over the years to not only reach teenagers, but they also have centers throughout the country, around the world, that also reaches adults who have life-controlling issues also.
I see. Okay. So you went through this program, which you found to be life-changing, much like the Dallas Champions Academy has been held up by some of the people who have gone through its program as being a turning point in their life. And inflection points are always a really positive thing. And like Darell remembers dates from over a decade ago as being a turning point, real significant change in your life does create a benchmark that marks that turning point that you'll remember for a long time. And I hope many of you have had similar experiences, maybe not gone down the wrong path as far as Darell did before God saved him, but you know, the great news is God came into the world to save sinners. Jesus Christ came into the world to save sinners, not to only benefit the self-righteous or righteous and saved. So anyway, so you got involved with Teen Challenge?
Got involved with Teen Challenge. Eventually went to their Bible college back in Southern California. Worked for Teen Challenge Southern California for about 4 years. Transferred here to work for Teen Life Challenge here in Dallas. Eventually went to Atlanta, worked for Teen Challenge in Atlanta. Made my way back here to Dallas and just been kind of plugging away, just preaching the gospel and working with youth through the Dallas Champions Academy.
Well, and you're doing exciting work with that and with the parent organization, Greater Dallas Coalition. And did the last meeting go well? I was unable to attend. I had computer trouble, which some of you may have had computer trouble, and you know how grim that can be. So I've been praying that my computer is going to be restored to life, and supposedly there's been a miraculous recovery that will remain to be seen if it actually works later on today. But how did the meeting go? The Greater Dallas Coalition meeting go? Oh,
our last Greater Dallas Coalition meeting was great. We had approximately about 40 ministry partners throughout the city of Dallas who attended the meeting. We didn't do what we normally. We have a major presenter come in and kind of just share briefly about their ministry, who they are, what they do, and how our ministry partners can come alongside them and assist them in the work of the ministry. However, this particular meeting just focused on the individual ministries. So we just kind of let every ministry share. And it's just, again, it's a great thing to hear how so many different organizations, so many different ministries that are impacting the city of Dallas with the gospel of Jesus Christ, whether it's a feeding program, whether it's a housing program, whether it's a men's or women's discipleship program, reaching out to the youth. There are so many ministries here in the city of Dallas that are on the move and are advancing the kingdom of God.
Well, and some of these organizations are quite sizable, and others are literally coming from the heart of a follower of Jesus Christ who is just compelled to outreach and help their fellow man. So, you know, one of the encouraging things about coming to a meeting is seeing how people can reach out and love their neighbor without having a big organization or a lot of registration and whatnot, just acting to help their neighbor and make the world a little better place. And the Greater Dallas Coalition serves as a place where people can network and be strengthened in that goal.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I love about the Greater Dallas Coalition is how it's more like the mom and pop type organizations or the grassroots organization, those who are in the trenches on a day-to-day basis, again, ministering to and meeting the felt needs of the individuals in their community. Though we do have, and we're open to the larger organizations, our heart is really for the smaller organization to really kind of equip them, to assist them, to come alongside them and support them in the endeavors that they believe that God has called them to do. We kind of look at Matthew 25, and you know, these are the type of ministries who are practicing that type of work. You know, they're feeding the hungry, they're visiting the sick, they're going to see the prisoner, they're clothing the naked, and it's very real and it's very life transforming.
Well, and that's wonderful, and it's, you know, one thing I like about being involved with the Greater Dallas Coalition and with the Dallas Champions Academy is how it is a grassroots effort to do the Lord's work in the world and really transform lives both at the adult level and at the child level, which the Dallas Champions Academy does. But so are we still overbooked on the Dallas Champions Academy?
I don't want to say that we're overbooked, but we're getting close. However, we we definitely want to reach out to more youth here in the Dallas area. If you know of a youth, I want to encourage you to go to our website, the DallasChampionsAcademy.com. Look us up. There is an information button there. Reach out to me. We'll respond generally within 24 hours, and we'll give you the update on whether or not we're overbooked or not.
Okie doke. Well, as treasurer, I would encourage you to go to DallasChampionsAcademy.com and give online to help us make our budget this year. As with all charities, it's always a struggle to meet the needs that are out there with the means you have available. And everybody that's on a budget knows the difficulty of balancing a budget, and your generous giving can really help us make a difference and have this year be a rousing financial success and not have us scrambling for funds for the rest of the year trying to make sure this camp is the success it can be. Well, we were just talking before the show about the 5th day of the camp, which is a new day of the camp this year, which has generated a good bit of excitement. So tell me more about what we're going to do on this 5th day.
Well, when we began, David, 8 years ago, we started with a 1-day camp. And then we went up to a 2-day camp and a 3-day camp. In the last 3 years, we've had a 4-day camp. And this year, we're actually doing 5 days of camp. However, there's a unique twist to this 5th day. The 5th day of the Dallas Champions Academy will actually be in the Lou Sterrick Jail of the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. They actually have 50, I was told today, they have 50 juvenile inmates who are incarcerated there, and they're under the classification of PREA inmates. PREA stands for the Prison Rape Elimination Act. These 56 juvenile boys are housed, segregated from the main population, the older main population, for the fear that they may be abused. And then they're segregated from the younger population for the fear that they may abuse them. However, they have no programming. And so the Sheriff's Department heard about what we were doing with the Dallas Champions Academy, impacting and transforming the lives of young people here in Dallas. And so they invited us to bring our camp into the Lou Sterrick Dallas County Jail. And we were excited about that. I was talking on the phone with one of the key personnel at the Dallas County Jail today. They're excited about it. The whole second shift that'll be participating and providing security for the camp, they're excited. They have welcomed us with open arms. And this is a total surprise. It's pretty new to us. We've never done this before. And so we're really excited to see what God is going to do. We're coming up with a long-range plan. We're not just going in for that 5th day. We're also developing resources and follow-up programs so that when the young men are introduced back into society, that we will be there on the front lines to welcome them and again to walk them through this process, connecting them with other ministries who can help meet their most felt needs.
Well, that's an awesome additional day that we've added, and it reaches a whole new population. And it's not just expanding the camp for the kids that started out one day 1 through 4. And the way the camp works, though, the kids are only guaranteed to come to 3 days of camp. And the 4th day of camp is by selection of those that have achieved the most during the camp. Isn't that right?
Well, I guess that's a good way of looking at it.
It's kind of a reward for being a good camper.
It is a reward. The Dallas Champions Academy, what our coaches, 17 current and former NFL coaches, do over the course of the first 3 days of our camp is they begin to instruct the kids on 4 major life character traits: trust, hard work, discipline, and respect. And so what the coaches are doing over the course of those 3 days, first 3 days, David, they're looking for those individuals who are beginning to exhibit those character traits. And so at the end of the 3rd day, all the camp attendees they're called into the gym, and those who have not made it are pulled to one side and they're talked to. They're encouraged and they're challenged and motivated to come back the next year. And then those who have been chosen to come back on the 4th day, they'll receive a gold medal like they do in the Olympics, and then they will be invited to come back for the 4th day. Now on the 4th day, there's some things that we do a little differently. On the 4th day of camp, there's a little more personal one-on-one skill in respect to the sport of football, more one-on-one skill development, and there's a little more character development. And then we also bring in a college retention specialist who begins to introduce the young people to the process, to the college application process, and how the 10 steps it takes to get in college. So yes, it is a reward.
Yeah. Well, and you have kids coming back year after year, so it's clearly a meaningful experience in their life. And heard some powerful testimony last week at a fundraiser at a board member's house, and it's always so uplifting to hear young men talk about breaking out of the cycle of poverty and being the first in their family to go to college and getting a college scholarship due to the efforts of the Dallas Champions Academy's college football scouting combine efforts. And so I always get an uplift from, and I would encourage you to seek out opportunities to have uplifting stories be a part of your life. And we're going to try to have that on this show, to have success stories like Darell's, sharing with you how he's turned from a life of illicit behavior to a life of leading people into God's presence and changing the lives of young people. So we may have some room in the camp, but you're optimistic as always. I think we may have too many, but what we don't have too much of as treasure is money.
That's right.
So more money is always welcome, and if you'd like to make a significant donation and like a tax letter, the best way to give is by check, where I can mail you by return mail a tax donation letter. We are a 501c3, and all donations are tax deductible, and we encourage you to give significantly so I can write you a letter and thank you for your gift. But all gifts are welcome, and we'd love to see more online donations to help validate that sponsoring this program has been a worthy effort by the Greater Dallas Coalition and Dallas Champions Academy to promote their cause in the community and build awareness of their successful program.
You know, it definitely is a successful program, and you know, I'm real thankful for the Greater Dallas Coalition, who oversees the Dallas Champions Academy. Again, 8 years. We have touched, over the last 8 years, I would say 1,000+ lives of young people. But more significant than just touching their lives and being in their lives, with many of these young men and these young women, we've been able to walk through life with them to such a degree that over the last 3 years, David, the Dallas Champions Academy, again through our scouting football combine, has been able to provide 15 college scholarships to young men who may not otherwise have had an opportunity to go to college. And every single one of these young men are the first in their family to go to college. And so we're talking about positioning young men to break the cycle of poverty. I believe that the Dallas Champions Academy, as is being oversaw by the Greater Dallas Coalition, we're doing that. We're breaking the cycle of poverty, getting these young men and these young women into college.
Well, that's one reason why, after several years of being a financial supporter, I decided to really throw my time into helping the Greater Dallas Coalition, Dallas Champions Academy, by being a volunteer treasurer of the organization and actively going out and soliciting funds from friends, family, and people that I meet. And we'd love, if you're in the Dallas area, to have you on our mailing list where we can invite you to a future fundraiser if you'd like to hear some really inspiring, wonderful stories. Hopefully I'll be able to have one of the young men on the show to give his testimony, but they're working, which is one of the positives about going through the camp format. Is you're not sitting at home unemployed like so many young men from the inner city are. You've got a job.
Yeah.
And that's the true measure of the success of a program. If people are inspired to be productive members of society, and that's the key to success, whether you're college bound or you're just out there in the world working and earning your keep.
Yes.
So
I'm really excited, Dave. You're listening to you share, and you spoke about at the dinner, I believe it was a little more than a week ago, and just hearing the young men just share from their heart about how much of an impact the Dallas Champions Academy has had on their lives. And there was one gentleman who shared his story. He had lost his father 3 years ago. His mom also kind of shared in this story about how when the father died, she didn't know how she was going to be able to raise her 15-year-old son at the time by herself. He was at an age where he definitely needed a positive male role model in his life. And through certain relationships and connections, she was able to get him involved in the Dallas Champions Academy. And the way she shares her story, and he shares the story, is how one of our coaches, all the way from Arizona, called him or texted him every single day, worked with him through life issues and life problems, from a long distance, mentored this young man. And today, this young man is on his way to Oklahoma Panhandle to go to college. The mother's relieved, she's excited, she's proud, and the young man, I'll never forget, he said these words. He said, one of the most difficult things for a young man to do is to learn how to be a man without a father in his life. And that coach from Arizona stood in the gap and became that young man's father for 3 years, and now the young man is well on his way down the road to success.
yeah, no, I was very impressed with his story, and the fact that they felt so strongly about the camp to go out and drive 45 minutes, not only go to the camp every day, but then to take time out of their evening to drive 45 minutes to come give testimony at a fundraiser where they have nothing but a give back mentality. So, you know, it really is incredible testimony that people who've gone through the camp are willing to give back to help the effort through their testimony. And it was moving. It moved a number of people to give, and we had a good turnout at the event. So, so you've got a lot going on, getting ready for this camp coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Yes, we're actually less than 2 weeks away from the camp. The camp dates are July 10th through the 13th, that Monday through Thursday, with the 5th day being on July 14th, which is a Friday. And so we're in that final countdown, that final lap of preparation. But we're almost there. We're going to do good.
Well,
I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to checking it out. And so then you have a year-round effort, though. The Dallas Champions Academy is not just a one-day, one-week event. It has activity going on throughout the year where it's mentoring these children and preparing some of the young men who are seniors to go to the combine.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that really make our camp unique and successful is that it's not just a 1, 2, 3, or 4 day camp and we'll see you again next year around the same time on the same back channel. What makes our camp unique and successful, David, is that we do provide ongoing care. We have a year-round mentoring process where we're constantly in contact, constantly working with the young men and the young women who attend the camp. This is primarily for the older senior high school students, and then for the younger, the elementary and the middle school students, we're networked with organizations like Young Life to provide, after school mentoring and Christian formation programs. So no, we're not just a 1 or 2 or 3 day camp. We're doing this year round. It's daily, texting, communicating, being there to meet the needs of these young men and young women throughout the year. What we found, Dave, is that we can do a 1 day camp, and we can have a 1 day impact. But we can also do, if you will, a 365 day camp and have a 365 day impact. And that's our goal: maximize the opportunity, maximize the time. As a matter of fact, I believe in the Bible it says to redeem the time. And so that's what we want to do. We want to redeem every single precious moment that we have with these young men and these young women to ensure that they're successful.
Well, and there's been some great success stories, and who knows how many more, if not all the kids that have gone through this program have seen some real transformational effect. And, you know, when you look in your life about what you can do to help others, oftentimes it is just a small gesture. And I, for one, believe that it doesn't have to be just giving your time. Giving your money is effectively giving your time to help others and to love others as Jesus Christ admonished us to do as the second commandment after loving God first and foremost and making God the center of your faith and life. So I'm just really have enjoyed getting to visit some more about this, and you are actually out there in the world looking for opportunities to help others around year-round, not just during the camp. And I still love your story of finding the young man and bringing him back into the process. And how's he doing? Is he?
You know what? I just spoke with that young man last week. He's doing well. You know, David, I think that's what Jesus did. He walked. The Bible says that he walked around doing good. So he was always looking for those opportunities to be a source of encouragement, a source of hope, and most importantly, a source of salvation to everyone that he came into contact with. And whether that was by providing food, opportunity, or healing, that was his heart. That was the heart of Jesus. He wasn't always up in the temple. Jesus was always out in the community, walking and touching the lives of people. And so I think what we do with the Greater Dallas Coalition and specifically through the Dallas Champions Academy, we follow that model. We want to be out in the community. We want to be touching people. We want to touch people. We don't want to just speak to people. We want to touch people, because that's where the difference is being made.
It really is. And you know, what a great day it has been to get to visit about the Dallas Champions Academy more and hear more about your life and how God's saving grace has worked so well in your life and continues to work as you share God's love with other people to grow in faith. Again, we hope you'll support our sponsor, Dallas Champions Academy, with a nice online donation, or even better, a larger donation by check. My name is David Munson, and I've been sharing my insights with you, and I hope you have a great day and come back next week to learn more. Take care.